All right, everyone, welcome back to the Forza Racing Championship live here in New York City, of course, presented by Porsche as we get ready for our second race of our second semifinal matchup. Keep in mind, folks, we had that extended break there because we wanted to ensure that we were getting everything, right and correct so that, the Gfinity staff can, go through the proper steps and ensure that the adjudication is correct. So we'll, of course, keep you guys updated on what that looks like. I don't know if we have the actual update ready to go. We do. Oh, look at that production. You nailed it, baby. All right. So it looks like we have Asics firmly in first place. 7 is going to be in second. Race Boy in third. Hold me for a second, Renee. Dear God.
I will huck you even if you want to.
Oh, and Box is going to be in fourth. And then look at this here. So, GTZ Kriz, he will be in 7th place. And Zermatt comes out with 2 down at the bottom. We really didn't get to talk about him all that much. But really, the big one here for me has to be the dramatic change that we saw, Rossi and Box kind of going down and 7 and Race Boy ascending the ranks there, so to speak.
Yeah, I mean, the French guys really got away with all the points now. First, second, and then it's Race Boy, then it's Box. I mean, Race Boy will be surprised, I guess, to be in front of
Canada, French-Canadian.
Yeah.
We'll give him credit.
We can.
No, I don't think
no
so.
problem. But he's in front of Box now, and it's actually the BAM team leading the second semifinal. So they can work with the points now. They know that 25 is nearly enough to qualify. They get points all the way down. So as long as nothing crazy happens, but we know that can, they are safe.
Yeah, well, oh boy, this is certainly going to be a very interesting race as we gear up for Brands Hatch Indy. Ali, talk to me, man. What do you think about not only the results that we just saw, but also the upcoming race?
Yeah, I mean, the results we just saw, they reflect absolutely how close the racing has been in this second group. And it makes me so excited about this second race, Alex, because we're looking at a group of people who can race closely in P-class cars. Those are very fast, very difficult to race side by side, and they're now moving down into B-class, into a slower car, more rubbing, closer packs. And so I think this is going to be a race to watch, definitely a brilliant way to wrap up this semifinal.
Oh man, it's going to be very exciting. Remember, folks, Brands Hatch Indy, that the first couple of turns there are definitely exciting because when you hit Paddock Hill, you go into that decline and then you got to rise right back up, going into Howard Hill and into Druid. So there's the car really goes through a lot. As you mentioned before, it's like it's a roller coaster almost.
The problem is just if you messed up the balance already going down Paddock Hill, and you're still in a fight, you might end up with a totally unsettled car for the hairpin. Because you will head into braking while going over the crest. So you got compression all the way back. The car lifts a bit, so you might just spin out on the other side. Since you come around the turn, you're sliding a bit, slight mistake maybe during the turn, try to make a move coming up over the crest, spinning it the other way around. So there's a lot that can happen down Paddock Hill into the hairpin.
And that's just the first turn.
Yeah, that's the first turn, and we know it's super narrow, this track. It's super short since it's the Indy version. So I think if anything happens, then it's Paddock Hill, especially on lap number 1.
All right, guys. Well, it is time. Who will advance to the grand finals? It's time to take this bad boy to Brands Hatch Indy.
Question is, will it be Asics coming out on top once again, or do we might see that miracle of GTZ Kriz coming back? I don't really see that happening right now, but I don't want to jinx anything. But the French guys looking very good so far. Position 1 and 2 for Asics, and 7 followed by Race Boy, and then it's Box. Rossi not even close to that, which is unfortunate since he had a good race, and for us, he looked very, very clean. He was the guy that actually stayed away from trying to bully his way through, a bit different to GTZ Kriz, who knocked on every door that was available, was basically just running around in the hood trying to make that happen, but it's the same starting order, so Chemical all the way back, followed by Diablo, and then we got not Venom, it's Zermatt on this group. And then Rossi. So Rossi started on 6th, had a good race on the first one, but ended up in the back due to penalties. So he could just hug up with Race Boy and trying to move forward. But getting across of Asics and 7, because they're currently leading and they're right next to each other. They just need to make sure to stay there, not to lose the position, not to attack Box or Chris, and just wait. For them, it's fine to just finish as they started. So,
True.
not much to do for them.
This is very true. I mean, this is certainly going to be pressure-filled here, folks. But who will advance to the grand finals? We are all green on Brands Hatch Indy. It is time, and let's see how this first turn is going to play out here, Renee.
Yeah, Chemical, of course, no chance for him to make a move, but we see that Box tried to make a move on the inside of Chris, already in paddock kill, now looking to the inside of the hairpin. That might give a chance to Seven. Seven moved up, or no, he didn't move up. He was starting next to Essex anyway.
That actually sends Chris back, though, which
yeah,
is...
look at this. Box still leading, but everyone is super, super close. And they got the two Frenchmen on their back. They don't want to do a mistake because that's what's happened in race number 1. And GDZ Chris ended all the way back. Well, we're currently with Chemical here. It's the number 14 car with the yellow stripes on it. Looking onto Zermatt and Diablo. But it seems like it's just not his event. Currently, not really... coming along with an impressive performance, Essex in 3rd position, so he switched positions with 7 here, I guess. GDZ Chris still in 2nd, and once again going for the dive there. Paddock kill, I'm pretty sure Box was super afraid that moment to might have GDZ Chris front end into his side door, and I can tell you, it's not that easy to repair a Porsche, especially with the engine in the back. You don't really want to bump in there, while Essex is now all over Chris, trying to make a move early on. He knows that if they can run away with Chemical getting a bump and then losing the balance there, no traction into that turn. But yeah, what I want to say is, if Essex is able to pass him early on and just do the same defensive line he did on race number 1, he will be super safe. But look at Rossi here. He's drifting all over the place. Zermatt still on his back, and then Raceboy, that should be the red car right in front of him. Coming back to 7. But I said, the Frenchmen just teaming up here. They don't need to do much. Stay safe. Stay safe, be legal or whatever. don't do crazy stuff here. But it's still GDZ Chris trying to do that.
Oh, man. Well, as this race continues on in lap 3, Ali, talk to me. What do you think on how all this is unfolding so far?
Yeah, it's great to see, isn't it? All these guys staying in such a close pack. Look at that. Rossi still battling it out with Zermatt right on the screen there. Rossi's been one to watch here for sure. You know, he had a very close battle with GTZ Chris in that first race. Ended in tears for both drivers. I think we saw them there not performing so well on the points table. So they both need to come up in the top 4 here, even higher, in order to be sure of progressing through to Sunday's final.
That's right. And keep in mind, folks, that for all of these drivers, this is not necessarily the end of the line. There is an opportunity for you to be able to make your way into the last chance qualifier, or into the grand final through the last chance qualifier. It just so happens to be that last chance qualifier is going to be a shark pit. So these guys are going to have to be very mindful of that. And, you know, again, what Ali said over there, you know, he couldn't be more correct with just how, you know, just so much pressure that these drivers are going to be feeling right now, as we get right back into the action here. And Zermatt right in front of Rossi. Rossi looking for something here as he comes around the bend, but he doesn't really get much out of that one, and he's now just kind of, you know, waiting for that opportunity to be able to strike and find himself in a favorable spot. But this is certainly not what Rossi would have wanted, especially in that 4th place position. Also, another thing of note too, Raceboy, he kind of snuck up there. He's in the 3rd place position in the points, and in this particular race, I believe he's sitting at 4th right now. Let me just see here. Yeah, he's sitting at 4th, so this is a pretty solid performance here for Raceboy.
Yeah, I mean, Raceboy was actually able to overtake 7 a bit earlier, but there's a mistake from GDZ Chris once again. Seems like he's super fast, but currently not really stable on everything. Yeah, it's Box getting away with the lead. Then it's Essex in 2nd position. Once again, like winning the position from GDZ Chris.
But the good news for Box, though, is that if he is to finish out in 1st, he's sitting in that 4th position in points. So that will just catapult him and just ensure that no matter what, I mean, no matter what, Essex and Box are safe, right? Like, I think with the current position the way it is, they can continue on their merry way, and they will easily find themselves into the final. But you know what though? I think we actually. Oh, I just got word. Ali, what do you have over there, man? I heard you're very eager and you want to share.
Yeah, I mean, just looking here at GTZ Chris, putting down his lines, just trying to keep this race in one piece. He's had a bit of a difficult pair of races this afternoon, and yeah, trying to undo a little bit of the damage maybe caused by coming down towards the back of the field there in the first race. I mean, it's been tough for him though, running in fourth right now. He may need to do better than this in order to proceed to tomorrow based on this semi-final. Then again, it depends how the other guys perform around him. Now's the time to keep his nose clean and just maintain position, I think.
Ali, I want to get your thoughts here. What's going on with Chris in particular? Because it's you know, I feel for the guy. I mean, you know, he has an opportunity and then it just kind of slips away from him. Anything that you've seen on your end that, you know, indicates you know what he's doing wrong and how he could potentially improve?
No, I mean, I think he's driving well. I think he's driving fairly throughout this. You know, he set an absolutely blistering time in qualifying, and all credit to him. You know, he was up there, first row of the grid, essentially, taking the second fastest time of all of the drivers. So a great job there. Just hasn't managed to convert that in these race situations. It can get a bit bumpy, you know, it can get a little bit of shoulder rubbing happening. And if you're not ready to sort of stand your ground, if you're not ready to push back a little bit, then you can find yourself being bullied out a little bit like that. And that may be what's happened to Chris over these last few races.
All right, well, Ali, we'll check back with you, I'm sure, throughout the course of this race. Thank you so much. Renee, you know, you've kind of just been looking at the race intently, almost like you're just glaring through the screen. I want to get your thoughts. What's on your mind?
I just think that Chris was able to battle his way through, but he's over the top right now. He's trying too hard. Yes, you want to be concentrated, you want to be aggressive, because without any aggression on the track, you won't move up forward. But every time it was actually GDZ Chris doing a mistake, bumping into people, trying too hard to overtake them. So he should stay focused.
I feel like it was preventable.
Like step back a bit.
Yeah, it was preventable. You know, like he didn't have to get that aggressive so many times. And I mean, you know, I would love to, you know, maybe I'll talk to him, you know, at the end of the day here and kind of get some insight, because I'm very curious as to like what's the deal with him.
Without trying to overtake people, he would still be in a position to go to the grand final. I'm sure. Because he was starting first, so he might end up in second or third on race number one, and he would be in third or fourth like currently, which is totally fine to qualify. Now it's 7 on 5th, which is a bit of a problem. I mean, 7 scored 18 points on race number 1, 25 for Essex. Obviously, Zermatt here going for the fancy entry to Paddock Hill. Maybe he saw our drifting exhibition match and he thought, that looks fun. I will join those guys if I can't win this. Well, Rossi looking to the inside here and the hairpin, but not enough traction coming out of the turn. So losing the position to Zermatt once again.
And this is also a heartbreaker for Rossi, man. In the 5th position in points and currently where he is right now in 7th. Certainly just not where he wanted to be. And with only a few laps remaining, you know, in Brands Hatch Indy, I think he unless something dramatic happens, this is not looking like the race that he thought it would have been, especially given how that first one went, and then the final, you know, the final judification on that whole thing. But anyway, let's actually jump over on the other side there to Raceboy, because I'm super excited to see him. The adjudication did come out in his favor, right? He was in that awkward 4th, 5th position for a lot of time in that first race, and now he finds himself in 3rd and 4th. This is a very safe spot for Raceboy to be in.
I'm not sure if he's really safe right now, because Box was in 4th position, which is the last position to go through to the grand final. He might score 25 points this time, so moving up.
But 7's in 5th.
A lot. Yeah, 7th is in 5th currently, but we're on lap 10 out of 12. And they're all pretty close, so he's up with GDZ Chris, which is kind of risky right now, it seems. So you might, like if you meet Chris on the track, you might end up somewhere else down the ranking. So Raceboy, he needs to stay safe. He needs to make sure that nothing happens to him. And we saw what happens to Box when he tried to avoid crashing into Chris on the race number 1. He nearly lost all of the positions due to that.
Yeah.
Just avoiding a crash.
All right, Ali, talk to us there. What are some of your thoughts as we go into the 11th lap of this race?
Yeah, coming towards the end of this race now, guys, and I mean disaster there for Chemical and Rossi are coming together on the last corner of the 10th lap. It's seen them drop well back off that pack that we've seen battling out all race. So those two guys more or less looking like their races are over, but up front, the fighting continues.
Can you see Raceboy, you know, going into that grand final spot, you know, through the 4th place position there, or what?
Yeah, 100%. I think he came 3rd in the first in the first race. Was that right?
Yes.
After education, and with a 4th place finish, that'll be more than enough to keep him up there in the top 4 competitors, I should think. You know, he might want to get stronger results if he wants to make anyone scared, particularly for the final. At the same time, anyone on that grid can win it. You know, we've seen the results in the races coming out today. You know, this isn't. It's such a spontaneous event, and everyone's so new to these cars and tracks that it's anyone's game.
Yeah, it truly is, which makes it even more exciting. All right, so we are in the 12th and final lap of this one. Box is in a dominating position. You have Chemical and Rossi kind of duking it out down at the bottom there, but those aren't the ones that I'm concerned on. I'm actually more interested in what's going on with 7 and Raceboy. I really want to know what's up in that one. 7, he's in that 5th place spot. But it seems like this is basically going to be curtains that will do it. Box will find himself in 1st place. Everyone else coming through. Raceboy finds himself in 4th as well. We have to wait for the final judgment as far as where the points lie, but it seems like it is looking good for Raceboy. Asics, Box, Raceboy, and potentially 7.
I still think all of them will qualify, if there's no penalty, of course. But we saw the same drivers at the top in both races, so they might change position, but they all should get through.
Yeah, I know. It's definitely been, man, what a race that was, guys. If you just joined us here, we're going to wait for the final call from the Gfinity side on who will be advancing to the grand finals. Of course, we also have the last chance qualifier, which will be taking place tomorrow. And that one will certainly be interesting. Only 4 can advance to meet 8 other competitors in that grand final matchup for the lion's share of $25,000.